with we got some special guest interviewers tonight. Some really big Kyle Road fans. We have with us Mr. Chandler Hassan. How old are you, Chandler?
5.
And Mr. Chris Porter. How old are you, Chris?
7.
7. So, and they are big time Kyle Road fans. Have you guys ever met Kyle before?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So we have some couple hard hitting questions, Kyle. I'm not sure you're ready for this. Oh, and this is Charlie. Charlie the elf is making the appearance tonight. So we have some hard hitting questions for you tonight, Kyle, from Chris and Chandler. I told them that you were prepared. You were a pro. Everything's on the table. Anything they want to ask. All right, Chandler. What is your question?
What's your favorite sport?
My favorite sport to play basketball, but I actually also really like golf. But basketball, obviously,
he said he likes to play basketball, but he really likes golf too.
Yeah. That's my favorite sport.
Really? No way. That's
yeah,
awesome.
You want to show him your golf swing?
No.
All right, Chris, you're up next, buddy. What's your question?
Which team was the hardest to play?
Ooh,
hardest to play. So I'd say that's a good one. I'd say since my time being here, the hardest team we played a bunch of really good teams. This year, the hardest team you could probably say was LSU. Last year, Oklahoma State was a really good team in the tournament. We played Purdue first game of the year. Those are just some of the ones that first stick out to me. My freshman year, we also actually played at LSU. That was a really good one. But there's been a bunch of good teams. That was a really good question, Chris.
You got any more?
Why do you like basketball so much?
Why do you like basketball so much?
I think I love basketball because it brings people together, like of all different backgrounds, and it's a really good way that you can use your platform, especially in college, to spread the gospel, and you kind of have a brother type bond, and I think that's kind of the reasons that basketball was always so interesting to me, especially from a team perspective.
Very cool. Chris, you got any more questions for Kyle?
Yes.
All right.
How did you get on the basketball team?
Yeah.
So
how did you get there?
That's a good one. I actually got to Liberty. A former assistant came and saw me in my high school, just playing in pickup games and practice. And then Coach McKay actually came the next week, and kind of a crazy story, actually. Coach McKay and I met for the first time. He saw me practice for the first time, and I got baptized later that night. So it was kind of like a story you look back on it wasn't a coincidence in God's eyes. And so ever since, I came on a visit, and I've loved it and got to Liberty.
Great question, Chris.
Really
That's
good.
a cool story, Kyle. So,
Yep.
Look, guys, it was time for Chandler to go to bed here, but I wanted to point out the reason that we brought these guys on is because, Kyle, that's one of my favorite parts about Liberty athletics in general and Liberty sports is, our kids, you see these guys, they look up to you, man, and they're watching your every move. When the ball's bouncing and the play is going on, Chandler, he could care less. He's just all over the place. But as soon as the whistle blows and if you guys are frustrated over a call or something, he zones in and locks in.
Yeah.
And there's no better team that represents the values that I want him to grow up to be than your team. And so I thought it was important to just kind of share that with you, and also for everybody else to know that that's kind of how it's special for us as Liberty alum and Liberty fans to make it a family event. And Jason, I know you feel the same thing when you go to a ACC game. For the most part, fans are really good, but when you go to a Liberty game, it's a family event, and you get all kinds of just really fun atmosphere for our kids. So, I thought that was really cool to kind of bring those guys on. Chris, you got anything else for Kyle?
No.
Okay. All right. Jason, we're going to put you on the spot here. Kyle, I know you're married, but I guess my question is for you, Jason, somebody in Kyle's situation who is married, the question is, when do you rent versus when do you buy? And I've heard it's a timetable. The answer I'm looking for is a time frame. if you know you're going to be at a certain location for X number of years, you should buy. Or if you know you're only going to be there potentially a certain number of years, you should probably rent and not get locked in. What is that time frame? How many years? How many months? When does it make sense for Kyle and his wife to buy versus no, hey, whenever we graduate, we might move back to Kentucky, and so we should probably rent. It probably wouldn't be worth it with closing costs and everything like that for us to buy. So that's the question. What's the time frame you tell people?
Yeah. Hey, I got to say, first of all, Chad, when you opened that with Kyle's married, I thought we were going a whole different route. And I'm really glad you stuck to real estate, brother. So we're in good shape. I can handle this softball, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, it's I would say one of the answers to that question that some people might not like, honestly, is to some extent it needs to become a math equation. You've got to take a little bit of the emotion out of it. And to your point exactly, I tell first-time home buyers, whether it be Kyle and Jess or anybody, that you've almost always got to buy with the end in mind, because you never know when the Lord's going to call and ask you to do something else. So you've got to have a property that's able to be sold or rented. So I always go into it with my first-time home buyers with the end in mind, realizing you've got to have a property that's going to retain its value, which is not too difficult these days. But there does have to be a math equation a little bit. Rent's going up quite a bit, and we're seeing that here in Lynchburg too. And so with mortgage rates and that combination, sometimes it does financially make more sense. But then you've got down payments, and there's some other things to be involved with, of course, as well. But sometimes taking the emotion out and really just running the math game, running the numbers side by side. Is it more feasible to rent or is it time to buy? Takes a little bit of the emotional factor out of it.
Yeah. So Kyle, I do have a couple questions for you. What has it been like for you so far this season as one of the main leaders? I know last year we had Cuffy and Chris came in as a grad transfer. He was one of the older guys. There have been some rocky performances so far. Not rocky, but just not up to expectations, what we thought maybe we could do. It's a long season. We all get that. We still have all of our goals to play for. But what has it been like for you as the leader of this team or one of the leaders of this team to try to keep guys motivated, maybe when maybe you're not playing it up to your expectations and just kind of all of that kind of doubt creeps in? How have you maintained your level of confidence with this team so that they see you and they do look to you and say, how's Kyle reacting? I mean, he's been through this before. He's won some tournament games. He's won championships pretty much every year he's been here. He hasn't lost a home game in forever. How is Kyle reacting? How do you keep that up? And is that something you struggle with, or is that something just like, hey, next game up, next performance up?
I think that's super fair, especially like in basketball. You look at it like individually, like you have your goals and expectations, and when those are unmet, sometimes it's frustrating. But I think it's important to also understand that it's a team game, and that if you're getting into your feelings, into your emotions of like, oh, I'm not playing to this level, then you kind of have the wrong perspective. And then also, like from a team perspective, we've had a couple games that we thought we should have won, and we ended up on the losing end of it. And so just making sure you have the right perspective. And I think Coach has done a great job of making sure we stay connected and making sure we're all on the same page, and also reminded us of like, hey, culture isn't just when things are going right, and family isn't just when things are going right. So if we don't have the right culture and the right family dynamic as a team and as a whole basketball program, then we don't really have a family or a culture. So I think to this point of the season, we've really been tested a little bit on that, and individually I have, and then I think as a team as well. So we're responding every day by just coming into work, trying to be the best we can, making sure we have really good EQ is what we call body language, emotional quotient. We call it EQ. So making sure you have good body language and always trying to bring energy. So
yeah, good. Jason, you got anything for Kyle?
Yeah, man. I was Monday night against Carver. Kyle, obviously, that was one of those kind of games where it was looked like hockey substitution at times, full sides in, sides out. But I think the subplot to something like that is a lot of the bench guys got a ton of minutes, and that's so important and so huge for them to get quality touches, and guys like Berggraf get a couple buckets and things like that too. But when those guys, you probably remember some of those early days, maybe as a rookie underclassman, getting some foot traffic on the floor and getting some playing time and some minutes. how does that overall help their maturity and kind of getting into this and kind of boost their numbers for more so than just the practice stats?
Yeah, no, I think a couple of different things. I think people don't give them enough credit for when we win because they don't see the amount of time they come in extra to learn either opponents' plays or to just play defense for 30 minutes straight in practice or things like that. Even like from our whole basketball program, I don't think some of those guys get enough credit that are kind of behind the scenes, and for them to get those quality minutes, it means a lot to us as starters or as guys that maybe play on a night in, night out basis. So it's always electric when they get in the games for sure. And that was a fun one for sure.
Kyle, we'll end it with this. Just looking forward to a long trip here over Christmas for the basketball team. I know you guys are headed to Hawaii, which will be an amazing experience, really. Talk about Christmas in the holidays in general, Thanksgiving too, but talk about Christmas with, growing up. I'm sure you guys had spent a lot of family time together with Christmas, and then now Kyle can't be there because he's got to go play basketball. What's that like for you? Is it something you miss? Is it something like, hey, we're on the road, we're in Hawaii, I'll pick that back up whenever we get done playing basketball? But I know my cousin, he really struggled with that. Like he just didn't play well. He didn't like being part of the team during those couple of weeks because it was family Christmas time. So what is that like for you, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good question. It was funny. Our director of ops, they texted us, hey, pack for 11 days in Charlotte climate and Hawaii climate and all these different climates or whatever. And it was just a reminder of like, that's a long trip. But no, it'll be good, man. I always love playing the game. And I think especially in college, like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to play on Christmas Day in Hawaii on ESPN again. So I think we're all embracing that as a team and just going to be around each other too. Like I think it's super unique. Coach McKay talks about it all the time. Like the shared experiences you get, like with your teammates, will last forever. So you do miss out on some of those like family moments you were talking about. But also, we know we'll be able to go home for a couple of days after the trip and kind of pick some of those traditions up then. But no, I'm super excited for these 3 games we have in Hawaii, and then also one on Friday in Charlotte. So I think it'll be super good for us, especially going into a tough conference play. Very cool.
Hey, listen, we're running out of time here. Jason, Chris, man, you lasted the whole time. You're the man. Thank you for doing that, Chris.
You're welcome.
And you look like you were. See, Kyle, man, he was watching you the whole time. Just goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I told this to Darius. Yeah, I told this to Darius last week, and I just want to tell you, Kyle, really appreciate how you guys handle yourself on the court.
No question.
And just this whole ability to do this with our family is so special to Plains Nation, and really love that about it. So appreciate that, man.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It was awesome.
Yep. You guys have a good night and good luck on this 11-day road trip.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good luck, man.